Welcome to the Beauty and You podcast, a safe place created for all women to come relax, get inspired, and be constantly reminded that they have not lost the ability to be who they once were. Join us as we dive into the true meaning of rediscovery through inspiring guests and topics such as healing, self-love, and creating a positive mindset. So sit back, relax, and get comfortable as we dive into this week's episode. Here's your host, Mack.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Beauty and You podcast. I am so excited today as we are talking about motherhood, style, and confidence with the one and only Charla Hobson. Let me tell you, first of all, she makes me look so bad. I tried to get dressed up for her today because she is just the ultimate stylist and wonderful mother and educator, and I just don't know how she does it all. So welcome to the Beauty and You podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Dr. Chiquita, for that wonderful introduction. And of course, you are a fab mom, and I just love your platform and the work that you do as well.
Thank you so much. And I love what you do as well, because you are building each woman up one day at a time, and you are taking the time to just making sure that their personality is shown in their own way. And that's not easy. It's not easy at all. So before we get into everything that you do, I do want to take it back a little bit, because this is called the Beauty in You. And part of this is just talking about our own discovery and your rediscovery journey. So do you care to take me on a little stroll through your rediscovery journey?
Definitely. As women, we're constantly evolving, whether it's what's going on the inside with our hormones or externally. It might be trauma. It might be changes in our career, change in relationships, motherhood, the major matrix that we can get caught up in. As beautiful as it is, we know that can be quite a matrix that we can get lost in. And so for me, my journey to rediscover has been one that has evolved several times as I've had to adapt, right? And try to remember to prioritize myself in the midst of all of the many hats that I wear. In terms of rediscovery, I would say definitely being able to align with who I am on the inside has always been something that's important to me, because I'm someone who's very reflective and do a lot of introspection. Mm-hmm. And so when I was younger, I always wanted to become a fashion designer, and I began on that path. I went to college to become a fashion designer. I have a bachelor's degree actually in fashion merchandising and design.
Awesome.
And while I was in that environment, a lot of times I felt conflicted a bit, because it's like, yeah, I love a good fashion wow effect, but it's like I felt like it didn't really align with my particular values. A lot of it felt a little too materialistic and a little too short-lived and not sustainable. And so for me, even as I developed my fashion line, a lot of it was about having women be able to feel confident at their core and connect to what they're wearing. So I did a lot of special occasion designing for a lot of years. I did brides, I did prom attendees, birthday celebrants. And even when I was doing that, I still felt like it was not something that women found to be attainable on a daily basis. Like they were putting their joy, putting their confidence on hold for once out of a year, once every 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to really embark on changing that. And then personally for me as a mom, I felt like although I knew all the fashion rules and all the different things that you should do or whatever, I got a bit lost in motherhood, right? And I also got a bit lost in seeking permission or waiting for permission from God knows who to empower me to show up the way I want to show up. And for me, that is not putting on the highest heel and putting on a fabulous suit every day and walking out, for the outer perception. But how do I want to feel each day? Even if I'm wearing a tank top or a simple bodysuit, how does it relate to me? Is it a neckline that makes me feel elegant, that makes me feel pretty? Is it a cut? So just being able to integrate these things. So my journey to rediscovery has definitely involved personal style. as a believer as well, of course, it involved my faith, right?
Yeah.
But I think both of them paired together have definitely been a part of my rediscovery journey. And then even over the last few years, as I've have to navigate grief, my style and my faith, and even my how I show up
Yeah.
has been impacted in that rediscovery journey as well. Having to dig deep and show up for myself and my family every day.
I love that. I love everything that you just stated, all of that, because it's real. And especially as mothers, like it's hard. It's so hard because we have little people that we are, responsible for. And then we do find ourselves being lost. Like I am a sweatpants and hoodie gal. Like, listen, I'm for it. But I don't always feel good in sweatpants and a hoodie. It's just sometimes it's quicker and it's easier to get out the house. And so I do feel better when I dress up and when I show up and I put a little eyeliner on. I'm wearing a uniform every day to work. But if I put a little eyeliner on, and even though my hair has to be back in a bun, I feel a little bit better. Like, gosh, I probably look tired today. But it's so hard to just show up. And one thing that really resonated with me in what you just said is like seeking permission. Like, who are we seeking? Who? Who?
Yeah.
Like, who are we waiting to tell you that it's okay to show up for yourself? It's okay to dress up and look nice. It's okay to put yourself first. Like, I don't know why we do that.
And it's all about putting those systems in place to accommodate you showing up as yourself. So whether that means having, even if you love the sweatpants or you love a particular casual look, just having nice colors, nice cuts that you can easily grab and go, that you don't have to think of too much, to integrate into your everyday appearance.
Yeah. I like how you make it sound so simple. But part of that, I know, is just making sure that you're really relating to whoever you're helping. So it is simple for them. They don't have to really think outside the box and be somebody that they're not. I used to be a heels gal. I used to love me some heels. Not anymore. No, I'm okay. I I will do the little heel, like the little tiniest one, just to give me a little bit. And I used to be like a heels gal. I'm like, when did that change?
And that's quite okay too, because a lot of times when people think of dressing up or having great style, like even when people approach me about working with me, they probably think like I'm gonna say like, okay, you need to get heels in this color. It's all about adjusting your style to your lifestyle, right? Building a wardrobe that suits your lifestyle. So when it's time to get dressed, if you're a sneakers type of girl, if you're a casual type of girl, they're great shoes that can give you a little
Just need a
as
little
you
bit.
yeah.
So what would you say to a mom that just can't seem to find their way? Like they know they're not showing up for themselves. They're having a very difficult time doing it. They want to do it, but they're just lost. What would you say to them?
I think that definitely they need to take some time and give themselves that permission, right?
Mhm.
And also be realistic with what their lifestyle is able to accommodate as regards to self-care for themselves, right? Because a lot of times we want to have our self-care look like what it is for, let's say, one mom might be in a season of newborns, the
Yeah.
next mom might be in a season, and so a one mom might have a little bit more support. Maybe they may have a partner in the home with them, husband, boyfriend, partner. So you definitely have to go based on what works for you,
Mhm.
but be intentional about it and also have it as a non-negotiable, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times yes, we want to sacrifice for our kids. Yes, we're going to have to sacrifice. But what are some ways that we can sacrifice for ourselves also?
Yeah.
If that's like planning out outfits on the weekend so that in the morning you have a little bit more time to put on some eyeliner. Can
Mhm.
that look like meal prep on a Sunday? Maybe not for the whole week, but let's say if it can get you Monday to Wednesday, so you
Mhm.
have more time in the evenings to just relax a little bit more. So you just have to think about it on a day-to-day basis and not look at it as a big, 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 big goal that is unattainable, right?
Yeah, planning helps a lot. Like just that, even if it's like you said, 1 or 2 days of just planning ahead, it does take a big toll off of everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of like we can boom, 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 we can definitely knock it out. So
Yeah.
you brought up self-care. What are some things that you do for self-care?
For me, self-care in this season is definitely being a bum because um relaxing and just embracing doing nothing because I'm someone who can be so addicted to going, doing, either working on a course, doing stuff with the kids,
Yeah.
doing extra work at home, that I've had to intentionally this year say that I want to find comfort in rest,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's
I love it.
yeah, so rest definitely. For me, I would say also planning out my outfits is a form of self-care for me because a lot of times how we show up affects our mood. It also affects our capacity and also our abilities to just show up and be present in every moment and to
Right.
do so confidently. So you're not like retreating and isolating or pulling down here and there or just feeling uncomfortable. So definitely style for me, plan out my outfits and showing up in a way that I feel confident, taking rest,
Mhm.
and also prepping, as I mentioned. To me, that's a form of self care. In terms of the beauty elements and stuff, I'm all for a little bit of makeup here and there. I'm not the
Mhm.
greatest makeup applier, but I know how to do a little
I know how to do like
eyeliner,
three things. That's it.
eyeliner, lips, a little bit of blush. And lately, I'm into magnetic lashes. If I
Ooh.
a formal event to go to, those are like quick, easy. I've never been good at putting on like the glue ones, so magnetic lashes are my go-to. In terms of, like nails and all that, I'm not a big nailsy girl. For some people, that might be their thing, and
Mhm.
that's I would do a pedicure every now and again, but sometimes even for me to happen to go and like sit down somewhere to wait on an appointment, so for
Yeah.
me it looks a lot different. Like rest definitely is it for me as someone who has spent a lot of my life just going.
I completely understand, self-care. I'm a nails, eyebrows, feet
Yeah.
person. So if I go to like I just recently I fell off, I'm not gonna lie. The last 2 months I definitely fell off on my self-care. And I remember telling someone at work and I'm like, I'm so stressed out. Do you see my eyebrows? If my eyebrows look like this, that means that I am not taking care of myself.
Yeah, eyebrows are a must for me as well. Because I mean, I don't know, that just changes.
It changes your look. Like it changes everything. And even my husband, he'll say, he's like, I never paid attention to eyebrows until you. And I'm like, because they make a big difference.
Yes, that's a must for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I definitely fell off, but like I said, like nails, eyebrows, that makes me feel better. And then just, I guess, just writing. I like to write, even if it's writing for the business, I still like to write. So it could become a blog or it could become whatever, but writing really just puts me in another zen area. And then just having that quiet time in the morning when no one else is awake. So I can hear myself think for a little bit.
Nice, nice. I
All
love
of
that.
that makes a big difference.
Definitely. And I forgot to include also exercise is also a big one for me as
Yes.
well.
Yeah,
When
you're
it
always
comes
in
to
the gym.
self
You're setting
a
the
lot of times,
example.
girl, and I was not okay. So all my life, I've always been around like exercising and working out. My brother was a pro bodybuilder, and my uncle and my mom. My mom was always someone who would like encourage us to work out from when I was in high school. She would wake us up to go walking in the morning and like all this kind of stuff. So I've always been around a healthy lifestyle, but I'm not someone who's like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to work out. Like I haven't become that kind of person as yet. But through my grief journey, I find that working out, particularly going to the gym, that has really been helping with my healing. And this is the first time I've been able to commit to it on this level. So I'm proud of myself about that. And that's
Congratulations. That is a
yeah,
big deal. That's awesome. Because we all grieve so differently and it's hard to figure out, how am I going to get through this? So finding something that you did before but not as much, but now you're able to commit on that level and it's also good for your mental and it makes you feel good. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment within itself. So seriously, congratulations to you.
thank you. Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. I'm
So
trying to
what
get
work out? Because
say
you have
again.
do you work out? You have the fit arms going on and the chiseled arms and
Tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do not work out like I'm supposed to. Okay. Me and my husband just started back a couple weeks ago, and he has all these workouts planned for me, and he's really good at it. And then I said I need to think of a name for him because his workouts, like when you're doing them, you're like, okay, but like 2 days later, like you're completely sore. They like sneak up on you. So he's been helping me get my life back together because I'm not as toned in certain areas, like my hips and my thighs. Like, I don't know what's going on with this age. They're just doing its own thing. So we're trying to get my life back together. But no, I don't work out like I should. It's like
Mhm.
sporadic.
Well,
It's,
thank God for supportive partners like that, because that's also, I work out with my husband, and
yeah,
you know, I really appreciate, how he goes out of his way to ensure, like, we have this workout plan.
yeah,
That's part of being able to stick with it and having that level of accountability as well.
yeah. That accountability. He's like, we didn't go to the gym today. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, okay, fine. Come on. Don't make me feel bad. But yeah, I have goal. Hopefully by this time next year, I'll be at my goal of just tight. I just want to be toned. Like I don't,
Mhm.
it's not really about losing weight. It's just like being toned
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
to get away from the craziness because I don't know what's that about.
Because like like when you were younger, the things just keep themselves off or correct themselves after a while. But at this age now, it's like you can be walking out as hard as you want, the things aren't falling back into place.
Nothing's going, nothing. Like I used to be able, because I ran track in high school and I ran track in college, and I was like, oh, and then as soon as I hit into my 30s, I'm like, what? I was like a little bored. I was a long distance runner. And then now I'm like all curvy, like, you waited till your 30s to show up. Like I was waiting for you all my life. And then you come now.
Oh my goodness.
So it's so funny. But yeah. So those are definitely ways of self-care. I do want to get into just your business altogether and your style. So if I was a client and you didn't know anything about me, so erase Instagram. Um, walk me through, what it's like to be your client.
Okay, so to be my client is one of the best experiences
Of
there is.
course.
My approach to personal My approach to personal style, first of all, is just having each individual client be their authentic self. So it's definitely not a one size all approach. Or I'm not trying to get you to adapt to what I consider to be my personal style. I'm not coming into your life to say, you're going to get rid of this, you're going to get rid of that, you shouldn't do this with that. It's about understanding your needs, understanding your lifestyle,
Mhm.
having a look in your wardrobe to see what can work, what you can push a bit more, and just going on a journey of really connecting to your personal style, seeing it as a tool, right? And not just a commodity, but seeing it as a tool that you can use to improve your life. So we do this through my most popular package is my winning wardrobe package. And in this package, I go about giving you a personal style colorway, doing a closet edit, personal shopping, creating a lookbook so that the client would be able to build towards an intentional wardrobe. So it's not an overnight thing, right? Of course, some of the results you're going to see within 2 weeks, but building an intentional wardrobe takes some time,
Yeah. And I
right?
think that's important to mention that it does take time. Like it's not a quick fix. Like everything I'm doing, I'm helping you build to ultimately get to
Yeah.
your goal. So that's very important.
Yes, yes. But the beginning of it a lot is mindset, right? Because
Mhm.
a lot of times we have a lot of preconceived notions, a lot of thoughts related to style that have infiltrated our minds, whether through childhood or several other sources that we can bring to the table and not even realize. So a lot of it, first of all, is a mindset shift into seeing style as a tool that can help you to just experience life a bit better, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so definitely that. So my winning wardrobe package, I also have style affirmation cards, which also have style prompts that can encourage you to play around with your wardrobe a bit more and put together outfits. So this helps to identify gaps as well. And also I do one-on-one style coaching calls that are just about an hour where we can do like some quick problem solving based on any needs you may have at the moment.
See, that's all you need right there, y'all. Right there. That's it. There you go.
Yeah.
Um, one thing I thought, I think is so interesting, whatever we're talking about, whether it's style or your self-discovery journey or just getting out there to crush a goal, it all goes back to your mindset. And that is one of the things that I lead with as well when I'm working with a mom is like, before I get where you want to go and I'm with you 100%, but we got to start with your mindset because it makes a difference, what you think about yourself, how you feel, processing certain situations, going back to your like, why am I this way? Like that self-reflecting, like thinking about your childhood and trauma and things like that. Like all of those things make a difference to how we're even operating right now.
Very true.
Yeah, like so, your mindset. So it's like no matter listen, y'all gotta do the work because whether it's style or you working on you, you gotta work on that mindset. I'm telling you, you gotta start somewhere. And that is just such an important place to start. And that childhood trauma is real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of preconceived notions,
Mhm.
whether you think something is like fickle or it's a waste of time and money,
Mhm.
or it's
Wearing
just
bright colors, you know what I mean? Like,
that's not for you. Where you're going so bright,
yeah.
or too much attention to yourself,
Hmm.
or shouldn't spend that much money.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're able to afford to,
Yeah.
so just different mindset shifts.
Absolutely. And it definitely plays a part. I love your affirmation cards because I'm all about positive affirmations too. They're all over my house and they're in my kids' rooms too. When they wake up, they see the positive affirmations. Tailor to them. My son has basketball affirmations and my daughter has mindset affirmations. And so I think your style card affirmations, I mean, that is such an awesome idea. What a better way to be like, okay, I don't know what to do. Oh, let me pull out a card. Okay, like to help get people started because affirmations aren't easy. Like
No.
I remember when I first started them, and when I was introduced to them, I thought they were. I'm like, this is stupid. You want me to do what? Because I didn't believe it. Like it took me a minute to like, okay, if I say it, then I'll feel good. Like what? I don't really understand what you want me to do. And I was really resilient, like really like resistant. I was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't get it. But I stay with it. I stay with it. And now it's like the first thing I'm like, positive affirmations. You got to do your affirmations because it really was a game changer for myself and my journey.
Same, same. And as you said, it's so simple, it can seem like a hoax, but we are a result of what we do continuously and what we believe continuously. So if we're able to pack our heads with these positive things, that's what we're going to produce, that's what we're going to attract, right? So
Hmm.
definitely, and it's so important to teach our kids as well, the
Hmm.
importance of speaking life and speaking positivity, especially when you're about to start the day in particular, and to have it to reassure and remind yourself throughout the day. Hmm.
Yes, so important. I have a little flip card on my desk at work. It has the date and then it has a positive affirmation and then I flip it every day. And as soon as someone gets on my nerves, I'm like, read it, read that. Okay, thank you. Go write it down. That's your positive thought of the day because it does make a difference. It really does. And when I talk about positive affirmation, I'm always like, because people can get like confused. Like you're always talking about positivity and going out there and crushing the goal and always thinking on being optimistic. Like you don't walk around happy. It's not that you're teaching everyone to just walk around happy all day because that's not realistic, but it's more so about building your tool bag. You know what I mean? Like you're giving everyone what they need. So when a situation does occur, when those negative thoughts do occur, you have those, oh, I learned about positive affirmations. Let me pull one out, let me,
Yep.
combat those negative thoughts. So it's not about walking around with a smile on your face all day like nothing bothers you. It's just learning the proper tools you need to get through any situations that may occur.
Yes, it's about coping,
Mhm.
and having those the toolbox, as you said, where it's just something ready to go that can help you get through whatever difficult moment or challenge it is that you're going through. But of course, it's not that you're not going to go through those challenges, or that it's you're going to navigate it unscratched or unharmed or whatever. But you will be able to navigate it with more of a sense of hope and more of a sense of positivity. You're going to get through it a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lesson I learned today on one of my other interviews was just talking about it being temporary, which duh, I knew that like things that we go through is temporary, but to be like, everything, it can it's a little crazy right now, but it's a temporary feeling. It's a temporary situation, and so if you look at it like that, it's like I'm not through it yet. I know it's going to take time to get to where I'm ultimately trying to go, but this is temporary. Like it can be done.
Yes, that's a great perspective about it. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I remember
And that's
start like
it.
Go ahead.
I was saying that's why it's important to have these kind of spaces like your platform and my platform, so that women, moms in particular, can see that, you're not in isolation. A lot of what you're experiencing, others have experienced. Like even on my platform, yes, I'm pretty good at styling and that sort of stuff, but I've had my challenges as well, even as someone who knows about style because I'm a human, right?
Yeah.
And we're not taught when we're growing up to look at style in an individual way, right? So
Mhm.
there's a lot of learning and unlearning and mindset shifts that I've had to go through. And even as I evolve as a woman, as a mom, I have to shift my mindset, reel myself back in. It's a process for everyone.
Absolutely. That human aspect of it. I think that's important. And that's what I try to bring to like, y'all, if I'm tired, I'm tired. If I feel like doing, I'm doing. If I'm not, I'm not. I don't show up as consistently as I should. But if you follow me for a minute, that's okay. That's who I'm coming back. But it's just about, showing that like, yes, I am human. I go through things too. It's a part of life. We've all been through something crazy or traumatic that ultimately leads you to what you're doing now. The birth of the Chiquita Mack didn't just come from, oh my God, this is a great idea. It came from a place of like, feeling anxious and feeling depression and like not really knowing who I am, and that struggle of trying to answer the question, who am I? Like not who I show up for my kids, but who am I? And it's important to share that with other moms and women to let them know like, hey, it's okay to feel that like, gosh, I am a mom now, but I don't even know who I am, or I don't know what to do that makes me smile, or I feel mom guilt when I do this. Like, yeah, you do. And it's human and it's okay. And we're going to get through it. Like, it's important to normalize talking about those things because oftentimes we only talk about like the good parts of motherhood, which I mean, it's all great, but there's the parts where it's like you don't want to do it all the time. And I think it's important to talk about that, to just talk
Like,
about,
get somebody else to do it.
it's important, talk about it and talk about what it feels like and not wanting to show up all the time and being aggravated and needing your time and your space. It's okay to say that.
Yes, definitely. And I was actually, when you said that, it brought to mind this week on Instagram. I saw it's a very popular quote that goes around. I used to adore it. It goes something like, I don't want my kids to say that my mom was so strong. I wanted to remember like how happy I was, blah, 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 blah. And I remember I used to adore that quote because I was just like, I don't like the strong woman narrative and whatever, whatever. And like as you go through seasons in life, right? As I even For me, my season is dealing with grief. I lost my mom almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the thing is that your children can see you being strong. You should not have to fake for your children. But the beauty is in them seeing you navigate these things and knowing that one season does not have to dictate the rest of your life or the rest of the narrative of your life, but just to see how you handle those situations. If you need to be strong, then that's what you need to be strong. If you
Yeah.
need to be vulnerable, you need to be vulnerable. And that happiness and sadness can coexist. It's not really one or the other, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times I think we can see these quotes a lot of times and be like, oh, yeah, this is what I want. But, we really have to teach our children to, navigate life and know that it's unpredictable. It's not going to be always A, it's not going to always be B, but just knowing that you can, as you said, it's not always going to be the same, and just navigating the different seasons as best as you can so you can make it through to the next season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I completely agree. And it's also like changing the term, not, yeah, changing the term of strength or just, sharing the definitions of it, like, when my daughter is upset, I'm like, wow, you're upset, that showed strength for you, being able to communicate that. So, it's like putting those different, a narrative towards it versus teaching them or anyone that strength is just holding it all in and just, like it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of strength to show emotion, and all of that shapes you. So it's definitely like, yeah, I did an article one time about, and I think I did a post about it too, like, don't call me super mom. I hear that all, you're such a super mom. And I used to be like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I'm like, no, don't call me that. Cause to me now, and this part of my journey, right? Talk about seasons.
Mhm.
Super mom means that I can't show human like feelings. Like I'm expected to just walk around like Superman
Mm.
and and not really show who I am. So please don't call. I appreciate it. I get what you're saying,
Mhm.
but please don't call me Supermom because I have bad days just like everybody else. I'm trying to navigate things just like everybody else. I'm going through, similar things just like you are. So it's just using the tools that I need at the time to help me get through it and just learning myself in the process. So
Yes. Mhm. And knowing also that in some seasons you may need to be super mom, but that's not a badge you want to carry with you with, you know, such great pride that people think that that there's no vulnerability, there's no, human human side
right.
to you that you just can manage and cope with everything on your
Everything.
own, 'cause that's not it.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating too, like, when you are upset about something and you're trying to tell, like, "I'm really upset," and they're like, "Girl, you'll be alright, you strong." Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I'm not okay right now," and you're like, "No, you're fine." And you're like, "Well, I don't
Mhm.
really." And you're not listening to me.
Ah.
Yeah,
So,
so go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna ask you in terms of the beauty in you, what does that mean to you?
The beauty in you means being your true, authentic self, whatever that
Mhm.
means to you. It took me a minute in my journey, to really be who I am because a lot
Mhm.
of the things I was doing um, was because I thought that's what society like wanted me to do. So I got married young. I had my son young, and I'm like doing the roles of what a wife should do, air quote, because people are not gonna be able to see me do this. But I didn't really know. So in doing all of that in the beginning of my journey, when my son was first born, I completely shut out who I was. Like I'm an artist as well. I love to draw and paint. I stopped doing all those things. I love to dance. I stopped doing all
Wow.
those things. I stopped running track as well. So I slowly started losing who I was because society says that I'm a mom now. And so, yes, my focus is on him, but it should just be on him. Everything else that I want should just go to the side. Or I'm a wife now. So my husband's career and what he wants goes
Mhm.
first and then me. And so I had to relearn myself all over again and really bring out that beauty in me because it was already there. And I'm sitting here like who I am, and I don't feel pretty and I don't feel confident. And, I'm confused. So the beauty in you is everything that's already there. Like we're rediscovering who you are. That's what it's about, rediscovering you because everything is there. We suppress it for whatever reason. We talk about permission. Who are we asking permission from? And we just have to get back to
Mhm.
understanding like, yeah, these social pressures happen, but this is a new time and age, and we can definitely be our authentic selves, show up every day and still be there for our families. And we're all winning. So yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And rediscover, and it's okay to rediscover yourself several times if you have to. And I think
It's a
as
constant
women,
journey.
yeah, and a lot of times as women, I think there's a shame. There's a shame in thinking that or approaching rediscovering yourself because, as you said earlier, we're super women, we're this, we're that. We're supposed to, do 100 things and still be well in tuned with ourselves. So there's a embarrassment in approaching, whether working with you or working with me with a personal style because there's so much baggage that either you're
Mhm.
embarrassed to unpack or unpacking it is just too much for you because you've let yourself go so long if you don't even know where to begin,
Yeah.
in your process of rediscovery.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. That embarrassment part, like even I felt that in the beginning of my journey, like when I started to rediscover, because let me tell you, when you start rediscovering yourself, when you're committed to it and you
Mhm.
start doing the work, that's so hard because you're like you're peeling that onion, you're peeling, and then you get to that part and you're like, oh, I don't even want to go there. Oh, I have to
Yep.
keep going there,
Mhm.
and then you keep peeling. But like I feel embarrassment as well, like even just sharing my story or even saying like, talking about depression and anxiety, like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed in the beginning. And now I'm just like, no, I need to talk about it because I need to let people know that it's okay and you can get through it. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just, something that you may have gone through. So it's just like it's so crazy how you start rediscovering yourself, and then you are embarrassed in the beginning, and how the journey just changes you within itself. So it's like the journey within the journey.
And a lot of times too, because rediscovery also brings with it a level of having to reintroduce yourself to some people, even though it's very close to you. And so a lot of times that can be a hard aspect too, because it's like, who do you think you are? You know, oh, you have needs now?
Oh,
Like,
you're
like,
brand new.
yeah, yeah, I can brand you. What's that sound? Why are you always in the mood? I can brand you. But it's you all the time. It's what's within you, but you've been withholding, right?
It's like, no, this has always been who I am, but I never showed it to you because I was scared, or I was embarrassed, or I didn't know how to show up as me, but I'm showing up as me now. So no, this
Yeah.
is me. And a lot of times too, like, I've lost a few people along this journey. I
Mhm.
really have. And I had to learn that not everyone's meant to go with you all the time, and that level of growth changes so much. Like, it does change, and not everybody wants to see you grow either, and they don't understand it. They don't always understand, and that's cool. It's not for y'all to understand, but I know where I'm going. But that is a lesson that I had to learn.
True, true.
Yeah,
I can see that.
it's like, no, I'm growing. I'm not really changing, but I'm growing, and it's just real conversation. So I try to talk about a lot about just communicating, especially for those
Mhm.
that you truly do care about, that you don't want to lose on your journey. Kind of explaining like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm heading to. This is what it looks like. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you
Mhm.
now,
Yeah.
because that communication does matter.
Yes, yes. Because even in saying that too, what I can think of on my end, sometimes when I'm working with certain women,
Mhm.
especially if they're like married and of course they have kids, so a lot of times they have to negotiate their budgets differently.
Mhm.
And that's sometimes a conversation they have to have with their partners in terms of, okay, like every month I'm gonna now need to put aside a
This
little
amount.
$100 to myself to,
Mhm.
go about building on curating a wardrobe that I need for me. And a lot of times it's part of self-care. So, you have to work it in there because a lot of times we think twice about doing something like that for ourselves. But when it comes to the kids, it's something that's not in the budget and they're getting it. So
Yeah. Mom, can I get these shoes? I'm like, how much are they? Oh, all right, let's go. Yeah, but you're right. For ourselves, we we second guess or talk ourselves out of it, some way or another. It never fails. So it's just like being and like you said before, being intentional. Like, I'm
Yes.
going to put, this money aside for myself. I'm going to buy that outfit, every month. Like I said, I'm going to show up as my authentic self. Like, you're just being really intentional about those things.
And in life, all the good things can feel hard to do, but
Mhm.
on the other end of it, it always feels amazing on the other end of it, and that's just like working out. You hate going to the gym, but after the workout, it always feels like putting in that little extra time to plan out your outfits, to show up. It always helps you get through the day better, but sometimes you can be like, oh my goodness, I don't feel like paying any attention to what I'm putting on, or even eating healthy might require some meal prepping, but it's like, oh my goodness, I don't have time to meal prep. But
Mhm.
then you end up rushed through the day, you have to buy breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you just feel like it's a burden. So a lot of times those things that are so good for us,
Mhm.
somehow we're tricked into just, thinking about putting in the upfront work,
Yeah.
but the results are always worth it.
The reward, like, the reward is so much sweeter, so let me just stay consistent with the best that I can.
Yes.
The best that I can.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, Charla, this has been amazing. Like, I am so happy that I've got to speak with you and that you are a part of my journey with the Beauty in You podcast. Thank you so much. Like, I just can't thank you enough for doing this with me. Like, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. The same here, and I'm so grateful for having to cross paths with you on Instagram, and I love engaging with you on there also. And so, for any of the listeners, you can hop on and visit my page at Style by Charla on Instagram, and I share lots of inspirational tips that can inspire you to have great everyday style without feeling too pressured or having to go above and beyond, but really practical tips, especially for moms.
Yes, listen, she always shows we talk about consistency and she's really modest, but she's always showing up. Like she shows up. I'll be like, girl, I'm trying to be like you. She always shows up and she's always her authentic self. And I love the style advice that she gives. So yes, please head out there and check her out. I will drop all of her information in the show notes below. But yes, thank you again. And until next time, I'll be checking you out on the gram.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Beauty in You podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Visit us at thechiquitamack.com or join us on Instagram at thechiquitamack for your daily motivation and inspiration. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time.